guess, how would you explain the relationship between the Zods, you and Aurora?
Well, it's Jana now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's Jana Zod. They have a very strange relationship. They have quite a intense relationship, which I think is very representative of a single mother or just single parent relationship. That it's very intense. So you can tell that there is, although it might be hard to believe, a lot of love there. And Jana is very much trying her best to make Lyta be the kind of Zod that Jana expects her to be, because it's what Jana has learned through her father, and it's the Zod line is how they've been raised, and Lyta's kind of quite rebellious and against it, and she wants to change the status quo of Krypton, but I also think she just wants to prove herself to her mum, and at the root of a lot of their kind of arguments and their discrepancies, there is this real want of her mother's love and her acceptance, and that thing of you just want your parents to say they're proud of you. And even though she tries to hide it a lot, as kids do, it kind of comes out in different ways, but I think at the heart of it, that is the relationship there.
So you actually came from the panel, sorry, I'm getting my shoes confused. Was there any particular fan question or comment that was made that really stood out to you that you're like, oh, I'm so excited someone asked this, or?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, or I've never been to this sort of thing before, and I'm not a big comic book person. I've not read that many, so I'm not sure. All the questions were way above my head, so I'm sure they were all fantastic. I think Cameron's probably a better one to ask that question too.
Well, even if you don't know too much about comics, were you excited to get cast for such a strong female role in this?
Yeah, I really was. That was kind of one of the big draws of it. She's very, very strong and empowered, but she's also very complicated, and she has her vulnerabilities and her weaknesses as well, which I think is important when constructing female characters, because sometimes the idea of strong women and it just being strong women, and that women can't be weak or feminine, I think is quite insidious as well. I think we need to be caring about and excited about all types of women, and women have strengths and they have weaknesses, and I think that Lyta really is that. She has really big strengths, and she's very empowered, but she's also very complicated, and she's also very vulnerable.
Which emotional complication or vulnerability was hardest for you to kind of tap into and get into character for?
The vulnerability, not so much. In my past roles, I've kind of played a lot of vulnerable characters, and I'm quite in touch with my emotions. So I actually found it a lot more difficult to begin with to get into the idea of being strong and being a kind of in the army, and taking control of situations and speaking to cadets and doing the kind of speeches as the show goes on. Lyta, kind of her involvement in the military changes, and there's lots of stuff in it that kind of mimics slightly stuff that Jana does, and she starts being put in those positions, and Anne is so fantastic at those sorts of things, and that's very natural to her, and I was kind of coming at it from I wasn't very natural at that, so that was something that I learned, but a great thing to learn, because
What's Lyta's journey going to be like this season?
It's going to be complicated. A lot happens over the series. It goes off in lots of different directions, and there are some points where you think that she kind of starts very strong with her ideas and her morals and what she wants for Kandor and what she wants for Krypton and who she thinks she is, and then it starts to kind of get derailed, and she starts to become very confused about what she wants and how to do it, really, and I think the relationship that she's had with her mother, which is quite abusive, has made her very vulnerable, which means that people can take advantage of her. She's quite open to that, so you see that as the series goes on. I think that she's kind of, she's quite vulnerable.
Well, Cameron was saying that there are some Romeo and Juliet kind of aspects to the story, given the House Zod versus L. And so, do you think we'll see some tragic aspects to Krypton going forward with that star-crossed lover?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, that Romeo and Juliet idea that at the beginning of the play they're both going to die. And at the beginning of the TV show that they can't be together because he is betrothed to Nissa and she's betrothed to Dev. So you already know that this relationship isn't going to work on that basic level. And then as the story goes on and things start to happen and they're both kind of pulled on different journeys, but they're also pulled on one journey together, and you see how that affects their relationship because they've been used to having this relationship that's isolated from her work and from his life. They don't really cross over, and then as the series goes on, you see them start to cross over, and that's where issues begin.
What's her relationship with Nissa going to be like this season?
Well, they do come into contact, and it's interesting. They're both very strong-willed women, so it's a difficult one because I guess you have expectations of the kind of jealousy and the kind of other woman aspect of it, but then they're also very strong, and you would imagine that they would be people that would respect each other. It could go a number of ways.
Hopefully in a good way.
We'll see.
Well, will we see Lyta get involved in some of the science-y aspects of everything with the possible impending doom for Krypton, or will she not really get too involved with that side of things?
There's lots of crossovers over the different guilds and the different sides of Krypton, so you will see kind of her in different environments, and
I'm curious about how Lyta and Seg met each other. Like, do you find out any of their backstory, how they got the relationship?
You don't. We kind of try to create an idea in our heads of how they met. We kind of decided that maybe he was arrested by her at some point, and that's how they met, and that he was probably a bit roguish and kind of charming and funny, and this relationship kind of developed from there. Because we see her arrest him at the beginning of the first episode, and I think that arrest she does seems like it's been done before, like they're kind of this happens a lot, and he's constantly in trouble with the kind of military, so that's how we think they probably did meet.
I think we were wrapped up.
Great.